And we're continuing our education. Next thing that we're just gonna pay attention to, that would be the script. That's something that you have like printed and it should be like in front of you, so you can just basically follow and just make some notes on the paper. That I would just strongly recommend you. So that's getting started. And so before that, there's like general information that you already like heard. So just a brief summary of what is already told previously. But just the test that you're gonna pass like is gonna be based not only on this information. This is just very brief, so don't learn based on that information. Like I said, it's just a summary. So getting started, it's gives you an idea of what your conversation would be look like. So the first one, that's like introduction part, and so before that, yeah, working with lead. So every time you have a new lead, you should respond to it within the next 5 minutes or less. Our typical conversation should be like this, and then it gives you a script how your conversation should be look like. So especially for the first month, don't try to be very inventive and very like bringing something new to this script. So as long as you're not fully aware of like how things are going in this business, I would just recommend you to use exactly this script. And even if you feel like you're delivering the same message, but sometimes you can be like really wrong, and even when you just change a couple of words in the sentences, it might just have a different meaning. So I would strongly recommend you use this equivalent. And so let's start. So hi, and then could be name, like for example, hi John, my name is Serge, and I'm calling you from Move Wheels Transportation Company. So usually on this first sentence, there might be some issues. It's like for Russian-speaking people and for foreigners, it's I would say equally difficult. The problem is in a company name. It's a Move Wheels, and usually we're not so good in just saying it right when the first word ends at V and the second one is coming with W, and there's H, which makes this in original they like who. I mean something like that. So usually, okay. So usually when we pronounce the word move wheels, we can easily hear like move what, or I'm sorry, what's the name of the company? So just they will just ask you to repeat it one more time. So what I would say, even if you feel like your English is pretty fluent and you feel like you're a native speaker, it still requires your attention at this point. So what I would just suggest you how to do this, how to solve this issue. If you feel like if you want to do this from the first time without like asking one more time like, hey, what's the name of the company? So you should do it like this. So before, like, you should just be a space, I would say, between move and wheels. So it should be like this. Hi John, my name is Serge and I'm calling you from Move Wheels Transportation Company. So just give you a little more time just to pronounce the word wheels correctly with the right, I would say, tonality or the right words. So to say, so I'm just giving myself a bit of space between these two words, and it just sounds more natural, like move wheels. So try not to rush on this one. Just say, hey, I'm calling you from Move Wheels. They will just ask you one more time, what's that? So if you try to say it separately with with a space between it, so and you still can hear like, sorry, what's the name of the company? So what you should do, you should instantly go and start like spelling, and the spelling would be like this. All right, let me spell it for you, or you can just not say that. So just go ahead and spell it like move as MOVE, and wheels as WHEELS. Exactly like this, not like MOVE WHEELS. No, you said like the word first, then you said as, then you just give the letters. Then you say and, then you said the word again, you say as, and then letters again. So exactly this way, like I said, don't try to invent something. Just do it this way. So let's move on. I see that you submitted a request regarding transporting your vehicle, and just want to check with you if you're still looking for a company to move your vehicle. And just forget to tell you, so as for the spelling, you just that will be a common thing. So like Americans don't get it something. Try to spell that if they don't get it. So like you can just spell, especially when you're working with the drivers. Like the connection is not really good, so they would drive in somewhere, and just spelling is a good way. So also if you just spell MOVE and they're like, oh, I just cannot hear you properly, so they also have such a thing as spelling by words. So say M as in Mary, O as in Orange, V as in Victory, E as in egg, for example. So they do it this way. All right. So I see that you're still trying to move your vehicle. So that's the key question you ask your client, and then could be several answers. So yes, I'm still looking. I'm just collecting quotes. I'm just shopping around. So it means that yes is good. So he's still interested. So the next one, we decided not to move. We decided not to buy the car. We decided to drive, and sometimes you can work with this objection because this is objection. So see below how to work with these objections. So that means, yeah, in this case, we cannot help this person in any way because he's like in that 70% of the clients who will not be a potential client anyway. So next one, it's already been taken care of. No, we're not. I'm all set. Usually when you hear something like that, especially when you call in the first 5 minutes, so that means that the client gets overwhelmed, and it doesn't mean that he doesn't need the service. It just means he doesn't want to speak with you maybe at this very moment. So depending on what we get in response, we can just do the follow-up conversation. I wanted to ask you, how soon do you need your vehicle to be picked up? I think it can be pretty much any date, like today, tomorrow, as soon as possible, sometime next year, and stuff like that. So we just give the exactly those time frames that the client has asked. So if you said anytime next month, so we can say, okay, we can pick it up next month as soon as maybe 1st, 2nd of January, for example, for the total price of $500, all fees, taxes, and insurance included, and it will be door-to-door delivery for you. So how does this price work for you? This is the key question you ask all the time you give the price. So you're not, okay, this is $500. Follow-up question is, how does this price work for you? And we just provide this information. If we just don't say, oh, fees, tax, insurance included, we might just receive, 3 or 4 follow-up questions from the client, which is not annoying, but I mean, you can just avoid those things. In the second thing, when we know that this question, this client will never be a potential client for us, so we say, all right, thank you, have a good day, bye-bye. And that's pretty much all the options how we can how we end up the conversation with anybody. And the third option, it's probably the most often you're gonna get it from the client. Just a little more lines, I would say. Okay, can you tell me, have you found a company that would transport your vehicle? So this question would define if it's going to be this option or if it's going to be this option. So in some cases, it might be this option. He can tell you, yeah, I decided not to move the vehicle. I decided not to buy the vehicle. So that means that this is going to be second option, and we can just go, just going to stop the conversation. If not, and if you hear, yes, I did, so I found a company, all right, could you tell me their price? And don't ask for the price. I mean, just a polite way of starting this conversation. Don't just give a pose, so the client should give you a price. Offering you $500, all fees, taxes, and insurance included, and it will be door-to-door delivery for you. So how does this price work for you? And then you can just work with the client. I mean, see what he's up to, if the price is okay, if the price is not. I mean, usually you would give the lowest price. So if the client tells you that he got a better deal, better price, just read stuff below. There's like how to work with these objections, how and stuff. So you can just generally start a conversation on that point. So here we pretended this is a a perfect situation when it says the price works fine for me, and when it's that he's maybe not that busy or he haven't even found a company yet. Okay, so can you tell me when your car needs to be picked up? It can be picked up anytime next week. So you can tell that I can send my driver to pick it up any day next week, starting as soon as Monday, Tuesday. And we just give him those dates that he actually requires. Any kind of response, some of the most popular questions can be answered like this, or answered this way. And we're just gonna take a look at those questions that the client might ask you. Before that, I'm just gonna show you the option of leaving the voicemail, how we can do that. And this is just one option. Later you will just I'll explain you that what kind of options of leaving a voicemail you have, but as a default, that would be a good voicemail that you can use for your clients. So if, for example, you don't reach the client. Hi John, my name is Serge and I'm calling you from Move Wheels Transportation Company. Just want to let you know that we can move your vehicle for a total price of $500, all fees, taxes, and insurance included. And for you, it will be door-to-door delivery. If you're interested, please give me a call back, 904-863-8500 or 8500, but usually we just only use like numbers. So 8500. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye. That's, I would say, the typical voicemail that we can use. So the next question, and like I think I have most of them that the client asks, but just in case. What about cancellation fee? And I mean, that's a very tricky question. Like usually the client asks about cancellation fee in order not to pay the cancellation fee. So our typical response would be, we do not have any cancellation fee, so you can cancel your order anytime you wish. However, if the driver is assigned to your order, the deposit becomes non-refundable. You can try to work with cancellation fee, but like in most cases, if you just will be too hard in getting the cancellation fee, the client might get issue with that. And when I say issue, that might be some negative reviews to your name. So try to be very, I would say, politically correct with this cancellation fee. So for example, the only time when we can ask for cancellation fee from the client, even though that's something that is written in the contract, and if they sign it, that's fine. We can try to. If you found a driver for those days that the client needs, or for example you were about to find the driver and the client has no information that you were unable to do that, if the price didn't change, and that's two conditions how you can do the cancellation fee. So how to take the cancellation fee. So for example, we pretend that we have a driver, or we definitely had a driver in the past, and the price was the same. So and the client calls you, says, hey, actually I want to cancel the order, and you told me that this is you can just cancel for free. So you can say, you know what, yes, that's right, but you've signed a contract where it says that the deposit becomes non-refundable once I find a driver and we have a driver line up. And at this point, you should see the reaction of the client. If the client says, hey, I'm not going to pay you anything, you just fraud and stuff like that, so just let it go. Just don't mess with the client, because it sometimes would be just worse condition to you. I mean, the only reason when you should start asking for cancellation fees when you have the credit card. I mean, sometimes you even don't have the credit card. You can try to get a cancellation fee, but only when the client is very cooperative on this point. So you see that the reaction of the client is good. So what you do next, you can tell that you know what, actually our partial deposit non-refundable, it's $169 for example, and then you can tell, you know what, but I understand, like I hate you paying like $169, so let's do it this way. Let me talk to my manager and I see what I can do for you. Then you just can call this client back, says, you know what, actually I've talked to my manager and we just can maybe take $100 from you, or $75 from you. And the only way how we can get a cancellation fee, that would be from him paying or her paying the invoice. So invoice, that's something that is provided by PayPal, and invoice can be paid with the credit card or with the PayPal system. So the next procedure would be like this. If the client tells you that he's fine, and when you're talking over the phone, what would you need is a written confirmation from the client that he's agree with that. So for example, you talk to the client, he says, yeah, I understand, that's fine, $100, which should be fine, and you just write a message. So like and you can tell over the phone, hey, I'll just send you an email and please confirm that you understand that, and we just cancel that. So you just write an email that says, hey, due to the terms and condition, in case you want to cancel with existing driver, there's like $169, and we just do $75 cancellation fee for you. So please confirm that you understand this. And they said confirm. The only reason why we do this is just because if they pay that and then they will just go to the bank and ask for money back, that's something that would help us to win that case. So, and if you have this written confirmation, or at least you talk to the client and you understand that he's okay with that, you just write this to your manager, and he have to give you permission of that. So you just put down the order ID, and if you have the print screen of this conversation where he says, yeah, I'm okay with that, so you just also add to that, and you can ask for, can I send the invoice for cancellation. Then in most cases, your manager, he will approve that. And what you do, you just do the print screen where there's your request, the permission from your manager. You just do the print screen and you send it to your billing department, and the billing department will send the invoice to your client. So you can then call the client, says, hey, you can just pay the invoice. I mean, of course, there's not a lot of motivations for the client to pay this invoice. So before that, that would be a good thing if you just authorize some amount, let's say, I don't know, 150 or something for already existing driver, and then you can tell, you know what, once you pay that invoice, I'll just refund you the authorized amount, 150. So usually it should be, authorized amount should be higher than the deposit that you were asking to pay. So for example, 75, that would be a cancellation fee, and you have 150 on authorization. And in this case, there is a motivation for the client just, to pay for the invoice just to get 150 back. But like I said, don't consider cancellation fee as your main source of income. It just should be something that just goes by with the rest of the work. But when it says if you have any cancellation fee, no, we don't have, unless we have something signed. The next one is how the payment works. Very popular question. It could be like in a different way, or like when do I pay and stuff like that. So you can answer like this. So once you place an order, the system will ask you for your credit card information, but we do not charge anything upfront. That's the main key. So we don't charge anything upfront. The only time we charge a partial deposit of $169 is once the vehicle is picked up. The balance you pay at the delivery point to the driver with cash or any certified funds. So it's try exactly learn it the way it is here, because it's, the way it should be explained to the client. So all the keywords that are there, that we take the credit card first, that we do not charge anything up front, so that's the feature of our company. Then when's going to be the deposit charge, what's the amount. The amount of deposit can be different. So even though you feel like you want to make like $125 deposit, still give like a bigger numbers, because it will help you in the future. Because if for example your deposit changes from 100 to, let's say, 150, it's more complicated to explain, rather than if it was 175 then it's turned 150. And I hope everything is fine and clear here. And the only thing that I would like to just to pay attention on, what type of certified funds do you know. So cash on delivery, it's usually called for the driver's COD, and just when I say COD, just don't get embarrassed by that. So Cash certified funds, again, cash would be more preferable, but at the same time, money order, cashier's check, and company check will also will work. And in case if they don't know how to make the money order, it means that you need to go to Walmart, 7-Eleven. For cashier's check, he needs to go to his bank. Company check, just he writes a check from his own company. The main idea, this is 3 things that would be just paper. So that's something physical, so it's not digits, it's physical that needs to be handled to the driver. The second thing that you need to know is that this is to the name of the carrier company, not to our name. So that will be a big trouble if they just write a money order or cashier check to our name. That should be to the name of the carrier company. That's the main point of things. So I do not have the credit card, so there might be such questions. I mean, it's hard to believe that any Americans don't have the credit card. I mean, they do have. The thing that might be here, so when the client provides you with a credit card and then you just try to run it and it just says, I mean, it doesn't work or something. So in this case, you would ask for additional credit card information, but if the client has only one credit card, so you can tell that you can use the credit card of your friends, relatives, or someone you know. If the client does not feel comfortable giving this over the phone, he just feels a little suspicious that my card might just appear somewhere else, you can tell that you can send the link and the client can do this pretty much online. And that would be an ideal situation how we can get paid. And again, depending on how big is the deposit, we can get a payment in 3 ways. We'll just talk about this a little bit later, but just briefly we'll tell you. So we can charge a credit card once it's not exceeding the $700 amount. So from $700 to $1,000, that's something that we would need to send a PayPal invoice, and the client can pay with a credit card or with a PayPal. And everything that exceeding, I would say, $1,200, that should be a direct deposit to our bank, which is Wells Fargo Bank. Alright, so that's the ideal situation in case the client asking you for some other options. So can I pay everything at the delivery point, or can I pay everything to you guys? So sometimes this question does not require that you have to, follow that path. It just the client asks you if this is an option or not. So sometimes when you can say no, we cannot do that, the client says, oh, okay, no problem. I just can handle the first option. And I would say the first option, it's not a very good option, so we'll just read it first, then I'll just explain to you. So, can I pay everything at the delivery point? Typically, we do not do that, and even if my manager will allow me to do that, in this case, the driver will ask for additional $100 because every time I talk to the driver wants to know if we have signed contract or credit card information on file. Because we do not have signed contracts and credit card information on file, people can cancel last minute, or a driver will end up with empty spot. And in this case, he will lose money. So for the driver, it's extra risk, and that's why he will ask for additional $100. So why this option is not an option for us? So only in worst case scenario do that. So because what the client is trying to tell you, that I don't want to provide you with my credit card information, I'll just pay everything to the driver, maybe cash, maybe it's going to be something else, and there's no point of signing the contract, because even if the contract will be signed, in this case, it's there's no purpose in that, because we need the contract just to charge the credit card, and as we don't have it, there's no reason basically in the contract. And as there is no commitment from the client, I mean, when they provide a credit card, they just feel some sort of commitment, especially when the credit card is charged or just put on hold, like authorization. In this case, there's no commitment from the client, so he can cancel pretty much any time he wishes and can go to any different broker who offers him like $50 less than that. So in this, it's not even like the problem that we would just need to collect our money from the driver, even though there's still a problem. The problem is that we can lose the client very easily, so there's, like I say, no attachment to our company. Second option, again, second problem, again, that's how we can get paid from the driver. So in some cases, when you have a good deposit, like $200 or $300 deposit, when the driver gets something very similar to that, let's say you have $700 total, and $300 that's deposit, and $400 will go to the driver. So the driver might get upset about that he just making same amount as you are, and if you ask to collect $300, there's a very small chances that the driver will just send you that money. So even if everything will be fine, the driver has an intent to do that, sometimes he just can forget about that, or the client might just trick him and not to pay the full amount. And the driver, he will not pay attention a lot to your money, because that's what he's not purpose basically. So even when the driver picks up your money, then we just have to collect the money, and when he gets or sends us the company check to process the company check, it takes like a lot of time. So you get your money maybe only in like 30 days or something after it's been dispatched. So trying to do that, that's a lot of hassle for you. You don't get paid for that most of the times. Do this is only like as an emergency of the client. There's no way to do this, and you can offer him some higher prices just because there's extra risk for that. So if you're making some money, so make sure it's maybe some additional $100 on that. And like I said, there's a lot of risks connected with that. Try to work with that. So try to find out like what's the reason. Give at least a couple of options to the client. So if you said like, well, I don't trust you, like I don't want to give you my credit card, all right, so what if you just provide me with your credit card after the pickup? So it would be that good idea for you. And most of the cases they say, yeah, I can do that, or can I closer to the delivery point. I mean, again, it's a little more risky, but you can do this. So sometimes it can be better than just to wait from the driver. So try to work with that, see what's the problem, why the client wants to do that, and just give some options to the client. The next one, if everything can be paid to us. So the problem with this one, and you can read this explanation. So the first problem would be that the job to pay the driver, it's basically on us. So if in first case the client will fail to pay the driver, and the driver will take vehicle to storage, and there's going to be like some sort of issues, that's client's responsibility. So he's not going to blame us because he knows he have to do that. In the second option, the client is not responsible for paying the driver. He paid us, and we are responsible for that. If something goes wrong, we have to cover those expenses. I mean, not all the cases are troubled, but sometimes when we get the money, then we just couldn't pay the driver. The driver is about to deliver the vehicle. He says, until I have the money, I will not deliver the vehicle. He just take it to storage and just leave it on paid storage, and then you have to pay the driver first, then pay the storage, and then just to figure out how to deliver the vehicle. So that's a lot of hustle. I'm not saying that all cases end up like this, but sometimes it's just extra risk. Also there is a 4% surcharge by the bank. Again, it depending on who's paying. If the client pays, that's one thing. If he doesn't want to pay, it's just something that will lie on you. And also try to avoid that. If everything paid to us, remember I told you up to $700 that can be charged from the credit card. If it's more than that, it can be PayPal invoice. If it's more than $1,200, you should it should be like a direct deposit to our bank account. And when we're charging the whole amount, there's going to be three things that is involved in that. So the first one, authorization form. You can find that, you can ask that from our billing department. They would just provide it to you. Second thing, we need a photocopy of the credit card that he's providing to you. Just pretty much the picture he's made, both sides. And he would need to send you a photocopy of his ID. I mean, preferably that should be a driver's license, because Americans, they all have it, or they have an ID card, which is similar to driver's license, but you cannot drive a vehicle with it. So I hope I gave you an idea about the payment, that's a very important part, because if you just do everything correctly and you just messed up with the payment, so it means like you didn't do anything. So the next one is about the personal items, and this just gives you like two options about the payment, about the personal items. So the first one is for free, so it means that you can put up to 100 pounds, and it's not any, basically you don't have to pay anything. And the second one that I mean, it's not allowed, but if you are so eager to do that, I will just allow you to put 100 pounds for $50. The reality like this, so pretty much 98% of driver, they will allow you 100 pounds of your personal items inside the car, and it should not be free. It should not be paid for that. So it's going to be free of charge. But try to limit that to 100 pounds. If it's 125, I mean, that's still probably okay. But if it's like closer to 200, that might be an issue. And also we have like a explanation how we can deal with more than 100 pounds. So that's something that we cannot deal with. So the first one, how you explain what is 100 pounds. So sometimes Americans will not understand that, and you just can explain that this is usually 2 large suitcases that you would typically take on international flight, and each of them will be 50, so a total of 100. That should give them an idea how much is 100 pounds. So in second cases, we give this option when we want to make some money, and also that will be explained a little bit later how to deal with that. But like $50, that would just cover, and we need to explain why exactly $50, why we cannot just do this for free. And like I said, pretty much any driver will allow that, but as long as it's under 100 pounds. So if it's more than 100 pounds, we cannot do anything. They have to deal directly with the driver, and it depends on the driver and his greediness, whether it's going to be free of charge or it's going to be $75 to $100. Sometimes if it's like 300 pounds, it could be even $200 for that. But still, it will be cheaper rather than sending it separately. That's the key phrase when you talk about like a paid transportation of their goods. So they need to understand that. Yeah, so you can use this phrase most of the times. If you want to make some extra money, you do that. How to use that will be just explained a little bit later in next coming up videos. So next thing, what should I do to prepare the vehicle for transportation? I mean, the most important thing here is make sure it's 100 pounds of your personal item. So that's the thing that matters. The rest one is just like advices to the client. So remove antennas, loose parts, fog lights, make sure the car operable and clean, remove all tags and plates, make sure it's a quarter tank of fuel. All of that, even if it doesn't have like antennas and loose parts. So if it just needs to be removed, so they will just remove it or break it simply. I mean, it's operable, should be as it is, and clean, it doesn't mean it should be like really clean. Tags and plates. What is tags? I mean, tags and plates, it's like license plates mostly, and there's like easy pass devices. So easy pass devices, that's something that Americans have in their vehicle, and if they have a toll bridges or toll roads, they just simply, without stopping at that point, they just pay for those roads. And if they will not remove that and they will be passing the toll bridges, toll roads, their easy pass will be charged. Same story with the plates. If they don't remove the plates, and say the vehicle will be last on a trailer, and with the plate facing opposite direction, and let's say the driver will speed, and the speeding cameras will catch the truck, so they will not catch the license plate of the truck, but maybe of the vehicle that is on the truck. So the client will get some tickets, and then it just a lot of hassle how to cancel that. So that's all like advisory, and just to make sure this one is very important. And the next one, I guess, brokers or actually carrier company. Well, broker companies are not companies you spoke with, they are broker companies because companies carrier companies do not work directly with the client. And previously I explained you why this doesn't happen like this. So you can just give a little more on this, and we can hear that I just talked to the carrier company, and we can explain that it might have just one truck, and some big companies do that, and we also try to buy one truck and operate it on a popular route. But if the client needs transportation on some different route and they cannot send their truck there just for one vehicle, but they're gonna just broker it. And the words that we can use, and of course the client just prefer to deal with the carrier company, and so we can use the words to sound like a carrier company. I can send my driver, the driver is ready to pick it up, it's a popular route, we can pick it up no problem, just to give more confidence to our words. But when the client asks you if you are a broker or carrier company, we should answer them that we are not a carrier company, we're brokers, and like I said, you can give a little more information to that. What's the difference between open and closed trailer? We already spoke what's the difference, I mean, in pricing, in insurance, in safety, but here we mostly will tell them about the safety again. So the only difference between open and closed, that in an open one, the vehicle is exposed to weather conditions. So if it rains or snow, the car will get dirty. You probably can spend $20 in car wash to clean it. Again, there's like some can be gravel, can be hail and stuff like that. So, but we do not mention that to the client because it just additional worries and fears to the client, and probably that would not be a good idea. So usually I would say open one is as safe as a no closed. Sometimes it happens like a damage, but like say, even if the vehicle is very expensive, like $50,000, $60,000, you can still use an open trailer just to avoid some complications, I would say. How many days will it take to deliver? Like we spoke, again, 400 miles a day. That usually that would driver would cover, and you have the mileage, and you can tell how many days, or use it visually, so 7 to 10 days, or 3 to 5, or whatever the route it is. Alright, so next one is, can you do 1750 instead of 1800? So the reason why I use those numbers, just to give you an idea how Americans are using numbers. So if, I don't know like how you were taught, but like well, very popular in Ukraine to read it like 1750, 1800. So Americans do not say it like this. When it comes to four number digits, they just do it as a year, 1750, and if it's around 100, so it should be says like 1800, like this. So if it's 1,000, you can say 1,000. If it's a 1050, you can say 1050. That's how they do it. Alright, so how we can answer this question? Let me call the driver, see who's available, and stuff like this. So when the client is asking for discount, like you do not know for sure if the price you gave, it's a good price, so it's something that can be adjusted. So ask for some time, but let the client know that you already have the driver. Like, hey, I just need to see who's there, like who's available among those 10 drivers, for example. And once I do that, I know who will be on this route, and I'll talk about the price. So you can easily call the back, and you can easily say, hey, I talked to the driver, no, 1800, that's the lowest. Or, you know what, actually, we can do 1750 for you, so let's book it. Okay, what is door-to-door delivery? That's what we offer. The driver will pick up right from your door and will deliver to an address that you will indicate to us. What time you will not be able to do door-to-door delivery? The only time when the driver will not be able to do door-to-door delivery, and he will ask you to meet in the nearest big parking lot, is when the streets are too narrow for the big truck, when it's a dead end or cul-de-sac. I mean, it's a round dead end. We don't have that in Ukraine, but in America that's very popular. Or the trees are hanging too low. The three cases when you should tell that the driver probably asked you to meet in the Walmart parking lot or something like that. In those three cases basically. So if the vehicle is inoperable, and let's say he lives in a cul-de-sac, so either we have to hire a tow truck to just get it to the bigger parking lot if it's a big truck, or we should find some smaller truck that will be able to get, let's say, 3-car hauler or 2-car hauler that would be able to get into such difficult situation. But in all the cases, if the vehicle is operable, that's what it should take. How far in advance should I schedule transportation? Usually we can say 7 to 10 days, but I would say the sooner the better. That's what kind of impression the client should have. All right, what should I do if the vehicle is damaged? Once the driver is about to pick up your vehicle, he will do the roundup inspection to see if there's any pre-existing damages. If he will, and he will indicate that in condition report. Once the vehicle is about to deliver, make sure you inspected your vehicle, and if you found any damages, put it down in a bill of lading. If the damage is not significant, the driver will try to cover it from his own side. If not, make 1 or 2 estimates in a local workshop and let us know about that. After that, submit a claim to insurance company. In a couple of days, the insurance company will send you a check. So that's the explanation about the damages. 2 key words that I can just find here. So first one is condition report, and it's still called a bill of lading, but just to give a better idea, what's that? It's still similar stuff, but just to differentiate that, I just put down condition report. So the condition of the vehicle, if it's damaged, so it should be indicated there. If you forgot how the bill of lading or condition report called, you can say that there's going to be paperwork at the pickup location, there's paperwork at the delivery location. A bit later, I'll show you how to find the insurance, and the very important thing that we cannot dispatch a vehicle without checking the insurance. So if you just dispatch it to the driver that doesn't have an insurance, it's going to be a penalty, so we're not allowed to do that, and usually we have like a lot of problems with that. So insurance is a very important thing, because if something happens, it can be covered. If it's not insured, then it's a problem. So what kind of trucks are you guys using? It's 8 to 10 car haulers, similar you saw near dealerships. That's pretty much how we're going to explain that. How do I track the shipment of my vehicle? You will have the phone number of the driver, and you can contact him at any time, or you can call us and we'll find the location of your vehicle. So there's no GPSs or stuff like that, so everything will be in the phone conversation. So the client should call us or call the driver directly. So usually they prefer to call the drivers. Okay. Do I have to be present at the delivery or pickup point? At the pickup, you don't have to be present at the pickup point. It could be your friends, neighbors, or relatives who can provide the keys to the driver. About the delivery location, you don't have to be present at the delivery location as long as you figure out how to pay the driver. So the thing is, you don't have to be present at the pickup point as long as somebody can provide the keys to the driver. So not the owner of the vehicle, can be pretty much anybody. If there's nobody, you can just leave the keys and the driver will pick up the vehicle from there, the keys. The only problem is that nobody will sign the condition report. With the delivery point, again, could be anybody who just pays the driver. So if you have your friends who can pay the driver will just drop off the vehicle there. If you pay the driver at the pickup point and you're not going to be there at the delivery point, the driver can also drop off the vehicle and just leave the keys somewhere. It could be inside the glove box or behind the tire or under the tank lid. Mailbox, could be anywhere where he can hide the keys, so it's not a problem. It's a very common procedure, I would say, but as long as you get paid. So that's the condition, basically. Let's move on. Why should I choose you guys? Because we're in this business for over 9 years. We have 5-star rated company on Transport Review, Trustpilot. We have thousands of happy clients who recommend us to their friends. So usually the reason why they choose us is the good reviews. Like those 2 websites, Transport Review and Trustpilot, we have a pretty good reviews, I would say there. We have an issue with the BBB. That's a Better Business Bureau. It's a something you should remember, because client might ask you about the BBB and our ratings there, and Yelp. So that's another one that you should be aware of. So a bit later we just pay attention to that, so we'll explain a bit more about that. But just remember two things that were not mentioned here: BBB and Yelp. That's something places where we don't have like a good reviews, and a bit later going to be explained why. So it's partially our fault that negative reviews started appearing there, and partially it's the policy of those companies. They just do not want to see like a positive reviews, and they are mostly focused on negative one. But those two places like Transport Review and Trustpilot, they I would say they try to be honest with the reviews, and like I said, we have, I would say, pretty good reviews there. So that's how you can say why they should choose us. Plus, thousands to have the client recommend us to their friends, it could be a reason too. Will my vehicle be driven? No, it's not going to be driven, only once it's loaded on the truck and off the truck, and not going to be shuffled around. How do I place an order? There's two ways how to place an order. That could be over the phone, or it can be sent a link, and the form can be filled online. Again, if you're talking to the person over the phone, don't send it over the link. Just take this whole information over the phone. And again, about this question, we just talk a little bit later. But you can, when a client asks you how do you place an order, you can say, all I need is your pickup and deliver information and you're good to go. Would you be able to do this over phone? No, I'm busy, I'm just driving, I'm doing something. Or can I call you back? Or I will also send you a link so you can fill the form online, and I'll also call you back in a while. Okay, so where you guys located? It just would be enough to say that we're in Florida. It's not because of your accent or something, just because this is very nationwide business, and the client wants to know what's location of the company that would do the transportation. If you say Florida, sometimes it's enough, but then they say, hey, I'm just moving from New Jersey to, like, say, Wisconsin, and say, well, yeah, our headquarters is in Florida, but you just operate all over US, so just don't worry, we just have a truck in New Jersey as well. If they want to know exactly where you're located, that would be a Green Cove Springs. It's not a very big city in Florida, not a very popular one, so they would need to know where is that Green Cove Springs. So it's 45 minutes south of Jacksonville, so not miles, not kilometers, exactly minutes. So Americans, they measure distances in minutes, how many minutes they would need to drive. So you can say this 45 minutes south of Jacksonville. Exact address would be 411 Walnut Street, and this one you don't need to memorize. I mean, something that is not important. Just 411 Walnut Street, that would be enough. Green Cove Springs, Florida, and zip code 32043, but I'm not sure that's something that the client will ask you. Okay, that's not all of the questions that the client might ask you, but I would say this is the major questions that you might be asked. And I would say if you will learn all those questions, how to answer those questions, you'll be safe. I mean, within the next months or so of working, you just will hear all the other questions that the clients might ask you, and this is just would be the variation of what already been mentioned, and the things that you're gonna be mentioned in the future in other videos. So the next step, after you spoke with the client, you answered all the questions, so the next question should be, are you ready to place an order with our company? So that's like a push you do for the client, as a call to action. It should be like always like this to you. And the guy might ask you, so what do you need for that? All I need is a pickup and deliver addresses, and we're good to go at this point. So we need to explain to the client that it's so easy, and so, I mean, there's just the address, and that's all. He can say, all right, no problem, and then we start. So what we need exact pickup address. Okay, it's 123 Main Street. Good. Let me verify the zip code of the area. So we don't need to ask about the city, about the state. All we have the zip code. We just verify it. We're saying, is it 01001 and say yes, and then the system will automatically show us the city and the state of this zip code. If they don't know the zip code, you can just put down the city and the state. And yeah, that's correct. Who's going to be at the pickup location is going to be Jack, or it could be company, could be pretty much anybody. Can you tell me Jack's phone number? Okay, and we have the Jack's phone number. Good. Can you tell me exact delivery address? It's 5554 First Avenue. Good. Let me verify the zip code of the area, 77511. Yes, that's correct. Okay, who's going to be at the delivery location? It's going to be me. All right. There's no need to ask the name because we already know that. We just verified that we have this. You can use the same number, yes. And in case of the phone numbers, try to take more than one. So if you took the phone number of the Jack, ask if Jack has some alternative phone number or if there's some other phone number that we can use. In some cases, when it's somebody else, I can put the client's phone number as a secondary phone number at the pickup location, even though he's not going to be there. So, for example, if the driver will not reach Jack, he will call the client, and the client can call Jack, say, "Hey, man, there's a driver, you need to give the vehicle." So it's more convenient just to leave more than one, so because driver have options basically. It's going to be me. Number, yes. So the next question that you need to ask the client, let me double check, the first available pickup date would be June 1st. So you have the date, you just verify that this is the correct dates. What is missing here, the question about what's the last of the pickup date. So what's the time frame? Is it the only day when this can be picked up, or it's very important for us? A bit later I'll explain you why. Let me double check the vehicle runs and drives perfectly. There's no problem with the vehicle. So yeah, again, even if it's operable in our system, we just need to verify that. Maybe there are some issues that will affect us. So it's better to know on the stage when you're just making an order. Alright, that's all information at this point. The only question that I'd like to ask you, what type of credit card would you be using for partial deposit? And there's pretty much 4 major credit cards that we can proceed. There's a Visa, MasterCard, Discover, that's one group, and then there's American Express. So the only difference is that the first one has 16 digits on the front of the card, and there's 3-number security code, or it's also CVV code, or it can be called as a code on the back, and it's on the back of the card. American Express has 15 digits, and it has 4 digits number of the CVV code. We cannot say this is a code on the back, it's code on the front. Okay, so you can find there. So the only reason why you're asking what type of credit card, just to know if you ask for 16 or 15 digits, and then if you can ask for CVV code, it's going to be 3 or 4, and either it's on the back or in the front. So I'm ready whenever you're ready. Just pushes the client to give you the credit card information. Okay, I'm ready. Can you tell me what's the card number? It's 12316. Can you tell me what's the expiration date of the card? It's December 2001. Okay, what's the 3 digits on the back on the card, or what's the security code, or what's the CVV code? It's 541. Okay, is it your name on the card? Yes. Can you tell me the billing address? The same as pickup, same as delivery, or it's different? Same as delivery. Alright, the card is in our system. Once the vehicle is picked up, we'll charge the partial deposit from this particular card, and the balance you can pay at the delivery point to the driver with cash or any certified funds. And the final stage, we're going to tell him about the contract. So give him 5 minutes, and I will send you electronically signed contract, PandaDoc. It will take you a few seconds to sign it, and you don't have to send it back to me. I will receive it automatically. Do you have any other questions? What time on Monday the driver will pick up my vehicle? The driver will give you a call a day before or the same day in the morning, and you can negotiate directly with the driver what time works best for you. Alright, if there's no further questions, thank you for placing an order with Mobile. Thank you and have a good day. Bye-bye. That would be the end of the conversation. So then you're going to send the PandaDoc contract. Again, that will be explained a little bit later how to do that. And just to make sure that the client signed it. If you have no signed contract within the next 10-15 minutes, I would recommend you to call to the client and just to ask if he actually signed a contract, if he has any questions about that. So you need to log the client for the signed contract and for the credit card information right away until he hasn't changed his mind. So same story with the credit card. If you place an order, sign a contract, and then you send the link for the credit card information, there's 10-15 minute passes and there's no credit card information on file, try to call to the client, ask him what's going on, like maybe something that you should be just paying attention to. That will be the end for the script. So what you need to do, and that will be a home task for you, there's a difficult questions in your scripts or below the scripts. So they will just enlarge your understanding how to work with some of the questions of the clients, and what you should tell and what you shouldn't tell to them. Again, here's the explanation about the BBB, something that you should know. BBB and Yelp gives you a little more information. We should also do the home task with how to avoid cancellations, just give you a little bit more information, and working with objections, something you should read and understand. And that's before how to raise a price, so you don't need to go further than that. There'll be additional video for that. So that will be a home task, and just be prepared to give an answer to and explain about the general knowledge, about the trailers, about like types of the vehicle and stuff like that, and be prepared to tell the script. So you will not be able to have the scripts in front of you, but that's something that's you have to tell from your memory.